Look at this coding problem between two sets. There will be two arrays of integers, and determine all integers that satisfy the following two conditions. The elements of the first array are all factors of the integer being considered, and the integer being considered is a factor of all elements of the second array. For example, this is your first array A. A is 2 and 6. This is your first array 2 and 6, and second array is 24 and 36. Now the elements of the first array are all factors of the integer being considered. Okay, so let us consider an integer which is 12. If I consider 12 one integer, say 12, then this 2 and 6 both are a factor of 12, and the integer being considered is factor of the elements of the second array, factor of all elements of the second array. So the elements of second array is 24 and 36. So yes, 12 is a factor of 24 and 12 is a factor of 36. So 12 is one of such number, one of such integer. And in the problem what we have to do, we have to list out all such integers like 12. Means all such integers for which all the elements of first array is a factor, and the integer x, let's say this is x, then this x is a factor of all the elements of second array. Okay, so as you can see here, there are two numbers between the arrays 6 and 12. When it comes to 6, then 2 is a factor of 6 and 6 is a factor of 6. 2 is a factor of 6 and 6 is a factor of 6. And 6 is a factor of 24 and 6 is a factor of 36. Similarly, when you look at 12, then 2 and 6, they are factor of 12. So every element of A is a factor of 12, and 12 is a factor of 24 and 36. Okay. So what we have to return? Listen, determine all integers that satisfy the following two conditions. Now here it is saying to return 2, means because you find out two such numbers, two such integers, so it is returning 2. Let's go down and look what exactly we have to return. Do we have to return the number of such integers, or do we have to return an array that contains all such integers? So we have to return the number of integers. We don't have to return we don't have to return an array with all such integers. We have to return the number of integers that are between the sets. Okay, so in this example, for A and B, for this example, what I will return? I will return 2. Okay, why? Because there are two such integers. One is 6 and other is 12. Done? Very good. So look at this sample input. So n is equal to 2. If you look at the first line, then first line contains n and m, which is the number of elements in arrays A and B. So number of elements in array A is 2, and m is equal to 3, means number of element in array B is 3. Second line contains n distinct. Okay, the second line contains this 2 and 4 is nothing but your elements of the array. So these are the elements of the array. And the third line contains elements of the array B. So it is 16, 32 and 96. Now what we have to return? We have to return the number of integers, number of such integers for which the elements of the array are factors, and that integer is a factor of the elements of array B. Okay, as you can see, the answer is given as 3. Now what we will be looking at is how to solve this problem. Okay, now let's look at the logic, how we would write the code. So let's look at if this is your array A, if this is your array A and array B. Okay, and you want to find a integer x such that all the elements of A is a factor to x, and x is a factor of all the elements of B. Okay, Now then this x has to be greater than the maximum element of a. For the maximum element of a to be a factor of x, first thing is for sure that this x has to be greater than maximum element of a. And how we will check for the values of x? I will check for x is equal to max a. Of course max a is a factor of max a, but is max a also a factor of rest of the elements of a? If that is the case, then I will check for this x, that whether this x is a factor of every element of B or not. This x will go from x is equal to max a, then I will check for 2 max a, then I will check for 3 max a. Okay, because let's say this element is max a, then max a also has to be a factor of your x. And the fact and max a is a factor of multiple of max a. Okay, so this is how I will check. These are the different x values for which I will check whether it satisfies my the rules of the problem, or whether it satisfies the constraint of the problem, whatever you want to say. Okay, so how I would write a code, means how I will write a code is, first I will initialize x to be equal to max a. Okay, whatever the maximum element in a is. Then what I will do is check if for this x, for given x, all elements in a is a factor or not. Is a factor or not. Okay, let's say I am also maintaining a boolean variable. Let's say bool check. Check is equal to, and initially I will initialize this check as true. I will assume that whatever the x value is initially, this is true, and further down the code I will check if it does not satisfy anywhere any of the condition, then I will check for this value of x, I will change the value of check. Don't you get it? You don't get it right now. When you look at the code, you will understand what I am saying. What I am saying is, for a given value of x, I am going to be using the for loop to traverse over the array A and traverse over the array B. Okay, so I am going to set this check in that scope, in such a scope such that for every value of x we will initialize check to be true first. Then I am going to check whether this x is really satisfying or not. If it is not satisfying, then I will change the value of check for this value of x, and based on that I will increase my count or not. Okay, so also now I will maintain count, which will be outside, which will be at the very beginning of the first line of my function. So I will set it as count equals to 0. If you get a satisfactory response, means if this is true, so far check will remain as true. Then I will check if for given x, okay, all elements is multiple of x or not. All elements in B is multiple of x or not. I can do this also. And if it survives through both of these conditions, I am not going to change the check. I am just going to do this. If check, then count plus equal to 1. And at the end I will return what? I will return count. Okay. Now what I will do, if it fails at any place, while means check while checking for this or while checking for this. If it fails for any case, means that if any element of A is not a factor of X, at that very moment I will make change, I will update check as false and I will break from the loop. Okay. If for a given X, if any element of B is not a multiple of X, at that point what I am going to do, I am going to update check as false, I am going to break from the loop, and then if check will be it will not get inside this if condition and count will not be incremented, and so we'll move on for another value of X. Means after if check, after this statement, my next statement would be next value of X, that is X plus equal to X, right? Means X, I am going to vary my X as max A, 2 max A, 3 max A, so X plus equal to X. And when I am going to stop, means it will go on, it will go on. So when I am going to put a stop, I am going to put a stop till the moment my X is less than, means I am okay, I am going to stop this whole process, I am going to stop this whole process, or I am going to run this process till the time X is less than minimum value of B. Let's go into the VS Code and code it. If there is something that you don't understand, then I will ask you to just continue watching the video and look at the code and you will get it. And if not, then just rewatch the video. And if not, who is watching? I have only 40 or 40 some subscriber. I am just doing it for myself. Fuck you. Include IO stream. Space std for, let's say int n A, which is the number of elements in array A, and nb, which is the number of elements in array B. Array A. So what was the constraint for A? Actually, I don't have, when I have to submit the code in hacker rank, I'm not going to do it because this is my main function in VS Code. Let's do it according to the constraint in the, as mentioned in the program step. So these are the constraints. I have to take the array size to be between 1 and 10, and the elements of the array I have to take between 1 and 100. Okay, I will use that only. So A10, this is array A, and B10, this is array B. Okay, count is equal to 0. Count is equal to 0. And what I will be returning, I will return count. See out the value of elements in array A and B. So this is the code for it. Okay, the size of the array A is NA, size of array B is NB. Then I'm taking all the elements of A, then I'm fetching all the elements of B. Okay, then finding out the maximum value in array A in this variable max A, and then finding out the minimum value of the elements in the array B. Then I'm going to take X, which is basically a candidate integer, you can say, for the example, and we will check whether this X is the desired integer or not. So initially I will start with max A, and I'm going to update this X after checking by X amount. So I'm not updating here, right? I have to do that. Okay, no problem. Then bool check is equal to true, means for any given X, for a given X, first I am setting this boolean variable to be true, and if it remains true, then we will increment the value of count. Now what I'm doing is I'm actually checking in this example, in this for loop, I'm actually checking if this X is multiple of all the elements of A or not. Okay, very good. And if it is a multiple of all the elements of array A, only then I am going to check if it is also a factor of all the elements of array B or not. Okay, and if so far so good, then count will be incremented, and we will update the value of X, and this while loop will go update the value of X, and then we will check again for the next X value if the while loop condition is still true. Now let's just run it, and I think that this will work. Enter the number of elements in array A 2, number of elements in array B 2, elements of array A 2 and 6, 12 and 12 था 30, 24 and 36 था 24 and 36. Oh, looks like I'm not printing it. Just a minute. Okay, let me print the value of count also. So we are getting here value 2. What was the other test case? Okay, let's test one more time for this sample input. Okay, for this example, let's run the code once more. Number of desired integers is 3. Sample output is 3. Okay. So let's just copy the code into this HackerRank and see if all the hidden test cases are also passing or not. Oh, Oh, okay. So there is some mistake in my code. Okay, there is some mistake on my code, but tell me, what are the supposed right integers? When means 4, if you take x is equal to max a, which is x is 4 itself, then 3 is not a factor of 4. 8 is not, then the next number would be 8. Then 3 is not a factor of 8. The next number would be 12. Okay, so 3 is a factor of 12 and 4 is a factor of 12. 12 is a factor of 24 and 48. So 12 is the answer for this code. The next number after 12 is 16. 3 is not a factor of 16. The next number would be 20. 3 is not a factor of 20. The next number would be 24. Is smallest number in the array B. So you cannot exceed after 24. But when you look at 24, then 3 and 4 both are factors of 24. And 24 is also a factor of 24 and 48. So my desired integers should not be 0 here. So there is something in my code that I have to correct it. So what could be the possibilities? Let's decode the code. Okay, right away. Now look at this. I will start my x to be 4 and then x is 8. Okay, let me do one thing. So I am starting my x with x will go from x is equal to 4, x is equal to 8. Oh, x is not going to 12. That's a problem. So we got the where the problem was. X is not even going to 12 because I should not be doing x plus equal to x. I should be doing x plus equal to max a. Okay, that's it. Now this will give the right answer. 2, 2, 3, 4, 24, 48. See, number of desired integers is 2. Now x is going right. X is equal to 4, then x equals to 8, x is equal to 12, x is equal to 16, x is 20, x is 24. When x is 4, then 3 is not a factor of 4, so check will give 0. Count value 0. When x is 8, 3 is not a factor of 8, so check 0, count 0. When x is 12, then 3 and 4 both are a factor, and 12 is also a factor of 24 and 48. So check is 1, count value is incremented by 1. Then for 16, 3 is not a factor. For 20, 3 is not a factor. For 24, 3 and 4 is a factor. 24 is also a factor of 24 and 48. So check value becomes 1 at the end, and count is also incremented to 2. Okay, now this will give the right answer. So we will make the change in our code and it will work now. Okay. Okay.